Epic Games just announced that they are increasing the price of V-Bucks.
Stop it. Get some help.
And not only that, they are also decreasing the amount of V-Bucks players will get from battle passes, while at the same time making Save the World a free-to-play mode. Now, at first glance, the last change might sound like a good thing. Making Save the World free seems like a win for players, but when you actually think about it, there's a catch. Save the World used to reward players with free V-Bucks for completing missions and challenges, which made sense because it was a paid mode. What looks like it's about to happen now is that this feature could disappear entirely, since the mode is going free to play. And if that happens, it basically means Epic is increasing prices while also removing one of the ways players could earn V-Bucks through gameplay, maximizing their profit on all fronts. And they are justifying all of this by saying that it is to help pay the bills, which is a ridiculous excuse. What is up, ladies and gentlemen, I am Pino and welcome back to my corner, guys. This whole situation honestly feels like a perfect example of corporate greed. If you just do a quick Google search and look at how much revenue Fortnite generates every year, it becomes very clear, and I mean very clear, that changes like this feel completely unnecessary. Keep in mind that the numbers you see on this chart are in the millions of dollars. Last year alone, Epic made around $6 billion. 6 billion with a B. We're not talking about some small team or a struggling studio here. Epic is one of the highest grossing companies in the gaming industry, which makes decisions like this even harder to understand from a player's perspective. The cost of running Fortnite has gone up a lot and we're raising prices to help pay the bills, Epic Games says, announcing V-Bucks changes and more. Epic Games has announced a major change to the prices and distribution of Fortnite's in-game V-Bucks currency, and blamed the cost increases on the need to help pay the bills.
V-Bucks price change? The cost of running Fortnite has gone up a lot, and we're raising prices to help pay the bill. Pay the bills? Pay the fucking bills? Pay the bills? You guys have the bills paid for the next 1,000 years! What bills could there possibly be to pay? You guys are trillionaires!
Fortnite already makes a ridiculous amount of money, and honestly saying it makes a lot of money is an understatement. Because of that, it's harder to argue that Epic needs this extra revenue. They didn't need to increase prices like this. What makes the situation even worse is that it's not just a price increase. At the same time, Epic also reduced the amount of V-Bucks players get from each purchase. For example, $8.99 used to get you 1,000 V-Bucks, but now it only gives you 800 V-Bucks, which just happens to be the new cost of the main Battle Pass and the OG Pass. The music and Lego passes are also changing, dropping from 1,400 to 1,200 V-Bucks. The bigger bundles have also been reduced. $22.99 now gives you 2,400 V-Bucks instead of 2,800. $36.99 now gives you 4,500 instead of 5,000. And the biggest pack, $89.99 now gives you 12,500 V-Bucks instead of 13,500. And if you're trying to buy a very specific amount of V-Bucks, it now costs 99 cents for 50 V-Bucks, when before it was 50 cents, doubling the price. Now, Epic did slightly reduce the V-Bucks cost of the Battle Pass itself, which might make the change seem a bit more reasonable at first, but in reality, most of the big collaborations and skins end up in the Fortnite item shop, not the Battle Pass. So when V-Bucks themselves become more expensive, players who want those collaborations will almost inevitably end up spending more money overall. Another big change is that the Battle Pass will now only give you just enough V-Bucks to buy the next one, instead of giving extra as a bonus like it used to. I don't remember the exact amount you could earn before, but if you completed a few passes and collected all the V-Bucks from them, you could eventually save enough to buy something from the item shop as well. Now that extra margin is basically gone, players will only earn enough to keep buying the next Battle Pass, which means one of the few ways to slowly build up extra currency just by pinning the game is disappearing. It's pretty clear that this update is designed to push players towards spending more money over time. And what makes even less sense is that we're talking about a virtual currency. V-Bucks are tied to digital items that cost basically nothing to reproduce. There's no manufacturing, no shipping, no materials, and no supply chain involved. Once a skin or an item is created, Epic can sell it an unlimited number of times without any real production cost. That's why a lot of people are calling this one of the clearest examples of corporate greed in modern gaming. Inflation usually happens when real-world costs go up: materials, labor, transportation, but that logic doesn't really apply to digital cosmetics. As expected, Epic has taken a ton of backlash over this. Some players are even talking about boycotting Fortnite entirely when the new season and update drop on March 19th. Honestly, I think that's a bit silly, because a huge part of Fortnite's player base is kids who weren't even born when the game first came out. That's part of why this feels especially wrong. These changes mainly affect adults who notice the price increase, while the majority of young players who won't even realize it. For them, it's just another swipe of their parents' card. Personally, I've only spent maybe 20 euros on Fortnite, just one battle pass and a single bundle back in 2019. I haven't played the game in a long time, and honestly, I wasn't planning on coming back anytime soon anyway. Epic apparently responds to all of this, but before we dive into it, their reply, I just want to quickly mention that I'm a small channel currently pushing for 1k subscribers. I talk about the upcoming games, gaming news, and gaming related drama. So if that sounds like your thing, please consider checking out my channel and subscribe, it really helps me out. Epic has responded to community outrage on the Fortnite Reddit earlier today. Thank you everyone for sharing your feedback, not just about the V-Bucks changes, but sharing your feelings about this current season of Fortnite and the game overall too. Teams are cooking a ton on next season, and there's more to share soon. So, they didn't really address the issue at all. They basically said, yeah, we heard your feedback, but anyway, we're super busy working on the next season. It's the kind of response that feels more like brushing it off than actually engaging with the complaints. They literally don't care, and it is sad, honestly. They know that they're too big to fail. Anyone else not feeling as excited for Season 2 anymore? I don't know, this whole situation just left a bad taste in my mouth. Kinda sucks, not gonna lie. As the tweet points out, a lot of players are generally unhappy with this change. With all of this said, do I think they'll reverse the changes? Honestly, no. Even if a lot of players quit or try to boycott the game, I don't think it will make a dent. Fortnite makes so much money from everything they do, for example those little companions pets you can only see yourself, and that cost the same as a skin, which is crazy and people still buy them. It's really sad seeing Fortnite move further into this consumerist direction. A comparison I always find striking is the old item shop versus the current one. It's massive now, and they even added a scrolling wheel just to browse all the cosmetics. And the crazy part, it works! Kids love this stuff. They love the collaborations, the flashy items, and unfortunately, I don't think that will stop anytime soon. What's even crazier is that this whole update was actually leaked some time ago. I don't remember exactly when, and when people started talking about it, Epic came out and said that the rumors weren't true, and that there were no price changes happening. And now here we are. The exact thing people were worried about ended up happening anyway. But with that said, that's pretty much everything I have for you today. Thank you so much if you watched until the end. Comment your thoughts and like the video if you haven't already. And I'll see you in the next one.